Hi, in today's video, I'm going to be talking to you about why are the real estate prices in Ontario, in the GTA, so high. I'm going to be looking at it from a macro level perspective, and then I'll give my suggestions on what we ought to do given the situation which we are in right now. From a macro level perspective, because of COVID, people have lost their jobs. So incomes should have decreased on a whole as an economy. But real estate prices have increased. It does not seem to be consistent with reality. The reason why real estate prices have increased, according to me, from the macro perspective, is because of quantitative easing and low interest rates. So, what does quantitative easing do? It pumps in more money into the economy. What does low interest rates do? It again pumps in more money into the economy. This is something which has to be done so that we can have an economic recovery. If money is taken out from the economy, if the government removes the money from the economy, businesses will find it too difficult to borrow, and we will not be in a position of economic recovery. But one of the side effects of quantitative easing and low interest rates is that real estate prices tend to go up. Think of think of quantitative easing and low interest rate as air being pumped into the economy. Now the air needs to go in somewhere. When there's lots more money, value of things which money is attached to needs to increase, right? Luckily, that increase has not gone to the essentials like food on the table. This money has gone towards the stock market and the real estate market. So how does it actually function in real life, right? How would quantitative easing on a macro perspective change into actual property price increases? Think about this, that a person has equity on their home. Because of the increasing equity real estate prices, they have a higher amount of equity in their home. They can, if they take a loan against that equity, let's say if they bought the home for $500,000 and now it is worth $1 million. Earlier, they had borrowed perhaps $400,000 and had an equity of just $100,000 on the $500,000 loan. But now they have an equity of $600,000. Now, the bank is forever willing to lend to these people because they have a strong equity in the house. People can take this equity from the house and buy another home. So homeowners are using their equity from their home to purchase more homes, which drives up the property prices. Now, can the government do something about it? Yes, from a macro perspective, they can increase the interest rates. But if the interest rates increase, then it's bad for the economy. It can take other measures, which I do not know whether they're considering right now, but it might be on the table, like a limit or have an additional tax on second home purchases, or limit the amount of the transaction. So if you buy a second home, this is what happens in New Zealand. If you buy a second home, you are not allowed to sell it within 10 years. So these are ways in which the government may decide to ease off the market. Nothing is on the table right now. I mean, nothing has been announced right now. I'm just airing what my thoughts are. Based on that, I am of the opinion that the property prices will continue to increase like the way they have, or at least will plateau off and continue to be high for the foreseeable future, unless and until the government takes an intervention. What should you do as a potential property owner or an investor. If you do not have a property, if you're living in a rented property, I would advise you to get your first property. I know property prices are too expensive. Yes, property prices may come down if there's a government intervention, but do not try to time the market. It is not. The market can remain insane longer than people can remain solvent. So do not try to time the market that, okay, next year maybe I will come in. You may be, forced out of the housing market. So if you are a first time home buyer, plug yourself into the market. Now you would say, okay, property prices in Mississauga are so expensive. The cheapest thing I can get is for $900,000, $1 million. I can't afford that. The idea is to plug yourself into the real estate market. How do you go about doing that? You can't buy in Mississauga? That's absolutely all right. Buy in Windsor. Buy somewhere where you can afford to buy and get a tenant out there. That is absolutely fine. If the property prices go up like the way we expect it to, that property will also increase in value, and then somebody else is paying your mortgage. While as if the property prices come down, that's fine. It gives you an opportunity to buy in your area of your choice, right? If you are a real estate investor, if you've noticed that I stopped sending you properties on new construction in Toronto and things like that, the reason why I do that is that as a real estate investor, you need to make sure your property will cash flow irrespective of what the market does in terms of real estate prices. So if you are a property investor, I would advise you to look at only areas where your holding cost of the property, that means the interest rate on the property and expenses, are lower than the amount of rental which we can get. Talk to me about where those areas are. Maybe I can help you find something. If you want to invest in the GTA, which is the most lucrative place to invest, know that it is a speculative investment game. And as long as you are aware of the risks involved with that, making a real estate investment in the Toronto region might be a very lucrative investment play. But if you want to be safe, like how I personally like to be safe, I would invest in places where there would be a better cash flow. So that's about it right now. I hope this my little rant on what the property prices are and the macro level of why the property prices are so expensive was of useful to you. Another thing which I did not mention was the demand side of it. I looked at the money supply side of why property prices are expensive. Now let's look at the demand side of it. Demand in Canada is fueled by immigration. If I had to choose the best country in the world to be, I choose Canada time and time again. And we are constantly ranked as the number one immigration destination, and we welcome people to into the country. So from the demand side also, we have a chance that the property prices keep on increasing. I'd like to end by saying that I'm not looking at it whether things are fair or not fair. It is absolutely unfair with the current property prices for a new first-time home buyer. But life is not fair. We need to take this particular situation and make the most out of it. If you already have a property, you can leverage your property and buy additional properties. You could do that. I would advise for every child in your family, have a property in their name, or at least for them, so that they are not left out of the property game when they are of age. That's my advice on what I I tell my real estate clients. If you have any further questions, I'd be more than willing to discuss them with you. My number is 647-293-3575. Thank you.